Hey, everybody. My name is Sean, and this is Rob here, and we're joined with Francis. So, Rob and I are elders in San Francisco with We Are Church, the church that Francis started, I think it's 7 years ago. And we've been leading something we call the Church Intensive for the last 3+ years, where we bring in pastors and leaders from really around the globe to kind of rethink the church, talk through what we were feeling God prompting us towards. And Francis has been a part of that at points throughout the last 3 years, but now he's off in Hong Kong. And obviously we've taken our Church Intensive and we're putting it online. And so Francis has been gracious to join us and just kind of speak in on some questions that I think would be so specifically tailored towards him. So Francis, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. And we'll jump in.
All right. Well, Francis, so good to see you again and pray with you. That was, man, just miss praying with you so much. I didn't realize it till we started praying. I was like, man, this is what I miss the most. And then you're like, yeah, we can do this. We can Zoom each other. We still be close. That's awesome. So good to be here with you. Yeah, the question we wanted to ask first was kind of in regards to how things kind of rolled out so quickly when you were leaving. I remember when we went to that place and you were preaching those last messages. What was that, like Bayside or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Remember it? And it was crazy because you were actually sick at the time. Remember?
Yeah.
And we went with you, just kind of hang out with you, and then you preached the first 2 or 3, and the message was like, if you try to save your life, you'll lose it. And I remember the conviction you had, and you were saying like, look, if anything goes wrong with me when I go to Hong Kong, don't think that God let me down. Don't think that he failed me. I remember you saying, my kids don't need somebody to play it safe. They need a dad that's willing to lose it all. And we're like, dang, he's going when the sickness is over there. People are dying. We're seeing pictures of like bodies racking up in Hong Kong, and we're like, he's freaking going for it. And then you go, and all of a sudden it switches and it's over here. And we're like in a mess here right now. What are you thinking, like, as it all happens and you look back and you're like,
I don't know, man. I don't want to make too much of it, but it was crazy. I mean, we got on the plane. You know, everyone's scared for me, warning me, like, are you sure this is the right thing? And are you thinking about your family? And I'm like, kind of. I mean, I'm thinking them in the sense that I always want to follow wherever the Lord's leading us. And it's not about safety. So I feel like I got over any fear that might have been there, but it was literally that day. You know, I'm on my phone as I get on the plane and I'm reading about, you know, the cases in the US and going, whoa, it's just hitting the US. And then I get to Hong Kong and everything's like mellowed out over here. And it's not what I expected. And I don't even know what to think of it. I guess the issue is, if you just keep trying to run to what's safest, that's just no way to live life. And I would hope that this pandemic opens people's eyes to, just follow the Lord, follow the Spirit, and he may lead you to be on the earth and healthy for a few more years, or he may bring you into glory right now. And you shouldn't really care that much. We should be like the Apostle Paul. This is the time, let's go. It doesn't mean we're careless. But if you sense he's leading you to something, I mean, that's something you always said, like, if I think the Lord's leading me towards something, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to err on the side of going for it rather than second guessing it.
Yeah, we had a little joke here. We're thinking maybe you got a prophetic word and said, oh, get out. Like the U.S. is going down, but because you got out just in time. But I just see God's hand all over the move. You know, even that thing with your mom and the pictures that you found, it was just so the Lord directing your path and you surrendering to him completely. Even in that day, the last message you preached, you came out and you're like, I'm not preaching the same message. Yeah. And you just totally changed it up. And I'm like, I can see you're following him. And man, it just encourages me, to make moves to follow him. And it can look different for everybody. But
it's so cool because I feel like every day there's stuff like that, like the thing with my mom. And it's like he just keeps opening my eyes to, well, this is why I called you here. And I think we, typical Americans, we like things laid out ahead of time so that it makes logical sense. And yet I found in my life so often you do get these promptings by the Spirit and you move in that direction. Then he starts showing you why. And it totally makes sense in light of everything we did and believed in as a church. I didn't think about it so much till I got here, but man, Hong Kong is obviously the pandemic hit here and we have like an isolation, not as intense as you guys out there, but it's opening the church's eyes to things can change overnight and you need to be ready for that. But especially in Hong Kong, we know things can't remain the same. The clock is ticking. And so the church really has to be ahead of the game. There's not even the option of it returning back to normal, at least not in Hong Kong, because we know the countdown clock started, 27 years ago or 23 years ago. It's happening. And so now it's like to be in a place where we kind of have to be on the front end and pioneering and going, okay, this is a great time of God's grace with the virus, giving us a glimpse of what church may look like in the future, or at least some taste of that. And are our people prepared?
Yeah, that's so good. That's actually where we're going to be heading into our next video. So really appreciate you kind of pressing in on that. And so check out next video, and Francis is going to be sharing a little bit more on